Okay, well, this news will be startling to some parents. New research from the University of Toronto suggests more than 85% of household objects tested contain cancer-causing chemicals. Most often, these are found in toys, especially products designed for infants and toddlers. Dr. Stephen Kurtarna is a PhD graduate in the Department of Chemistry at the University of Toronto and also the lead author of this study. So thank you so much for joining us, Steve, this morning. Let's start with what these chemicals are and where you found them exactly.
Sure, thanks so much for having me. So these compounds are called chlorinated paraffins, and they're usually added to plastics just to soften them or to meet flammability standards. We were initially, so the government of Canada actually banned these compounds back in 2013. And so we were just kind of doing a routine general analysis of a wide variety of products, hoping to find nothing.
Right.
But we found them in almost all of the products that we tested. And so we were extremely surprised by this.
Okay, and can you give an example of what some of these products are that you tested? I'm not sure if you could reveal the brand. I'm sure some parents are at home with their baby, you know, sucking on a soother that's plastic, thinking, oh my goodness, should I take this out of my kid's mouth?
It was just like a wide variety of just common everyday objects that were donated by volunteers in our lab. So everything from headphones to children's toys to computer wires, just random little bits and bobs.
Okay, and so if these chemicals were banned in Canada, when you mentioned, why are they so commonly found in these products that you tested?
It's kind of a lot of factors. So the first is that these compounds are quite difficult to analyze and pose a technical challenge in that regard. But also, suppliers are not required to list these compounds as part of their formulations. So actually, it's likely that most manufacturers don't even know that the plastics they're using contain these chemicals.
All right, so I know that these are, you know, based on your study, the chemicals are found in people's common day products at home right now as we speak. So how high is this risk of getting cancer from them?
Well, so toxicity isn't really my area of expertise, but I can speak to the fact that, so the government has listed these as having a high potential to cause cancer. And there have been numerous studies looking at the toxic potential of these compounds, and the weight of evidence, it seems to be stacking up towards that. So there is a risk, but it's not like you won't get harmed from just touching products that have these. The main cause for concern is young children and infants mouthing products that have these and possibly ingesting them. So that's the main route of exposure. Okay,
thank you for clarifying that. So if you want to be safe, try not to let your kid put anything in their mouth. Just because you don't know. Parents aren't testing these things at home, right?
Yeah, and they're primarily used in plastics. So just, I guess, generally minimizing the use of plastics. I mean, good for the environment, but also good for this reason as well.
Or stick with wooden toys or just edible food. And so I guess, you know, that leads me to my last question is, what do you think parents should really do to prevent the risk of this?
Right, so like I said, minimizing the use of plastics is kind of the only thing that is doable from a consumer side of things, because, like I said, these compounds, manufacturers may not even know that they're in there, so there needs to be really more transparency in the supply chain all the way through. So, you know, suppliers being required to list these compounds, and also the government enforcing the regulations that are already on the books.
Will you very quickly be submitting your study to the government to get them to push to do something about this?
They're already aware of it. We've got government collaborators and funding, so they definitely know about this, and the study has been published now, so hopefully they'll look into this.
Okay, Dr. Steve Kurtarna, thank you so much for joining us on CP24 Breakfast. Just graduated from chemistry at University of Toronto. I really appreciate the time.
Thanks so much for having me.